There comes a time in life when you have to stop playing small. A time when you stop hiding behind excuses, stop negotiating with fear, and finally face the toughest battle you will ever fight. The battle against the weakest version of yourself. That version of you is not your enemy because it hates you. It is your enemy because it wants comfort more than growth. It whispers lies when things get hard. It tells you that you cannot do it, that you are not ready, that maybe tomorrow will be better. But understand this clearly. Tomorrow does not belong to the weak. Tomorrow belongs to the bold, to those willing to act today. The first step in defeating the weak version of yourself is admitting that it exists. Too many people live their entire lives in denial, convincing themselves that everything is fine while their dreams rot from neglect. They ignore the signs, avoid the hard truths, and wonder why nothing changes. Ignoring your weaknesses does not make them disappear. It gives them permission to grow stronger. You must take a hard look in the mirror and call it out. What is holding you back? Is it procrastination? Is it fear of failure? Is it self-doubt disguised as realism? Name it. Own it. Because what you refuse to name, you cannot defeat. Excuses are the fuel that keeps weakness alive. You tell yourself life is hard. You tell yourself the odds are stacked against you. You tell yourself you just need more time. But understand this, every champion has faced obstacles. Every strong person has stood where you are standing now. The difference is not talent or luck. The difference is refusal. The refusal to let excuses define reality. Excuses are lies that keep you comfortable in mediocrity. They protect you from responsibility while quietly stealing your potential. Stop blaming external factors for internal problems. Yes, life throws curveballs. Yes, circumstances matter. But your response to them matters more. Your reaction is what determines your future. Take accountability for your actions, your choices, and your mindset. The moment you do that, you reclaim power you have been handing over to circumstances, people, and fear. Accountability is not punishment. It is freedom. It is the moment you stop being a victim of life and start becoming an architect of it. Acknowledging weakness is not about tearing yourself down. It is about taking responsibility. Weakness grows when you refuse to confront it. Strength begins the moment you decide to own your life and stop waiting for someone else to rescue you. No one is coming. And that is not a threat, it is an opportunity. When you acknowledge your flaws, you open the door to solutions. You begin to see where you can grow, what you must learn, and who you must become. Denial keeps you blind and stagnant. Awareness moves you forward. Before we fully dive in, I just ask for one small thing. If you can, take a second to like or hype the video. It helps me to reach more people who might need these words today. Thank you. Facing your weaknesses will be uncomfortable. It will challenge your ego. It will force you to confront habits you have protected for years. But that discomfort is the price of growth. You cannot heal what you refuse to admit is broken. Weakness thrives in secrecy and darkness. Shine a light on it through brutal honesty. Honesty is not weakness. It is strength in disguise. Once you acknowledge where you are, you create a starting point. From there, every step, no matter how small, is progress. But remember this, you cannot win a fight if you refuse to admit that you are in one. Change does not happen by accident. It does not happen because you feel inspired for a moment. Change happens when you make a decision, not a casual, half-hearted decision, but a firm, unwavering one. The weak version of you is comfortable because it senses hesitation. It knows you have not fully committed. You keep circling the idea of growth instead of attacking it head on. Decide today that you are done settling for less than your potential. There is power in saying, "I'm done." When you reach that point, you tap into a level of strength you did not even know you possessed. Every major transformation in life begins with a decision. You do not stumble into discipline. You do not accidentally become strong. You choose it. The weak version of you will fight back. It will remind you of past failures. It will replay old mistakes and tell you that you have tried before and failed. It will tell you to wait for the right time. But the truth is this: the right time does not exist. Waiting is a luxury weakness uses to survive. Decide now, not later, not when things feel easier. Deciding that enough is enough means drawing a line in the sand. It means saying, "I will no longer tolerate this version of myself." This is not about proving anything to anyone else. This is about you and the person you face in the mirror every day. That is the only competition that matters. When the decision is real, your actions follow. Change is not just spoken, it is lived. And when decisions are backed by consistent action, transformation becomes inevitable. The weak version of you cannot survive where discipline, honesty, and commitment exist. Choose who you become. The fight is already happening. The only question left is whether you are ready to win. The weak version of you survives on inconsistency. It feeds on broken promises, skipped days, and half-finished efforts. That is why commitment is its greatest enemy. You do not defeat weakness with motivation. You defeat it with discipline. By showing up every single day, especially on the days you do not feel like it, you begin to starve that weaker version into extinction. The power of this decision lies in its permanence. This is not a temporary burst of effort or a short-lived surge of inspiration. This is a turning point. From this moment forward, you are no longer the person who hides behind excuses or avoids challenges. You are the person who takes ownership, who meets adversity head-on, and who refuses to retreat when things get uncomfortable. Decide today to fight for your dreams, your goals, and your future. Decide that you will no longer negotiate with weakness. Weakness cannot survive in the presence of conviction. Once the decision is made and reinforced through action, momentum becomes inevitable. The weak version of you does not stand a chance against consistency backed by resolve. At the core of that weak version is fear. Fear is the voice that asks, "What if it doesn't work?" Fear is the voice that says, "What if they judge me?" Fear is the voice that replays past failures and magnifies future uncertainty. But that voice is nothing more than noise. Fear has no real power of its own. It feeds entirely on hesitation. Every time you procrastinate, overthink, or delay action, you give fear permission to grow. And as fear grows, the weak version of you feels validated, protected, and alive. If you want to stop feeding fear, you must take action, especially when it terrifies you. Fear hates movement. Action exposes its lies. The moment you step forward, even imperfectly, fear begins to shrink. Do not wait for fear to disappear. It will not. Move through it. Fear is not eliminated. It is overpowered. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you earn through action. Every time you do the thing you are afraid of, fear loses leverage. You prove to yourself that you're capable, resilient, and stronger than your doubts. Your comfort zone is fear's favorite hiding place. That is where the weak version of you feels safe. But understand this clearly. Nothing grows in the comfort zone. No transformation, no strength, no progress is born there. If you want to destroy the weak version of yourself, you must willingly step outside what feels familiar and safe. Discomfort is not your enemy, it is your teacher. Fear thrives on what-if scenarios. It keeps you frozen by forcing you to imagine the worst possible outcomes. But you have a choice. You can flip the script. You can ask different questions. What if it works out? What if this decision changes your life? What if this moment becomes the turning point you look back on years from now? Shift your focus, and fear begins to lose its grip. Stop feeding fear by isolating yourself in doubt. Surround yourself with courage. Spend time with people who inspire you, challenge you, and demand more from themselves. Courage is contagious. When you witness others confronting their fears, pushing their limits, and refusing to settle, you begin to believe you can do the same. Fear is not a wall, it is a door, and the only way forward is through it. The weak version of you will beg you to stop, to retreat, to play it safe. But every time you push past fear, you weaken its hold and step further into the stronger, bolder version of yourself. If you continue feeding fear, it will consume your potential. If you starve it with action, confidence, and persistence, it will eventually lose its grip entirely. And understand this, you are the company you keep. If you spend your time around people who complain, make excuses, and normalize mediocrity, you will slowly begin to mirror their habits and mindset. The weak version of you thrives in that environment because it feels justified there. It feels normal. If you want to eliminate that version of yourself, you must elevate your circle. Strong people do not just talk about what they are going to do, they do it. They challenge themselves daily. They take responsibility for their failures and learn from them. When you surround yourself with people like this, their standards begin to influence your own. You start to see what is possible because you are witnessing it firsthand. Look around. Are the people in your life lifting you up or pulling you down? Are they pushing you toward growth or anchoring you to stagnation? If the answer is the latter, something must change. You do not owe anyone your future. Weakness thrives on loyalty to the wrong crowd. Strength demands that you choose wisely. Being around stronger people is not about competition, it is about elevation. You learn by observing how they think, how they respond to pressure, and how they handle adversity. Their discipline becomes a blueprint. Their mindset becomes a standard. Sometimes upgrading your circle means walking away from people who no longer align with your vision. That is not selfish, it is intentional. Weak people will criticize you for changing. Strong people will respect you for growing. Learn to let go without guilt. Seek out mentors, coaches, and role models who have already walked the path you want to walk. Their perspective will help you see beyond your current limitations and accelerate your growth. When you combine the right environment with disciplined action and unwavering commitment, the weak version of you has nowhere left to hide. And that is how it ends. Not with motivation, not with words, but with consistent, relentless action. The weak version of you cannot survive in a room full of strong individuals. It becomes exposed. It is challenged. It is forced to confront its own limitations. When you surround yourself with people who demand more from themselves, you are not just killing the weak version of you. You are actively replacing it with a version that believes in growth, excellence, and greatness. Your circle is your environment. And environment shapes identity. A strong environment produces strong habits, strong thinking, and strong standards. Weakness suffocates where accountability and ambition exist. When your surroundings raise the bar, you are compelled to rise with them. Discipline is the weapon that destroys the weak version of yourself. Not motivation, not inspiration. Discipline. Discipline is the consistent, unrelenting effort that says, I am in control. Weakness thrives on inconsistency, skipping workouts, sleeping in, choosing comfort over progress, and negotiating with excuses. Discipline leaves no room for negotiation. It replaces feelings with action and intention with execution. The weak version of you depends on motivation, but motivation is temporary. It comes and goes with mood and circumstance. Discipline, on the other hand, is permanent. It shows up when motivation disappears. It is waking up early to chase your goals even when you are exhausted. It is saying no to distractions and yes to priorities every single time. Each disciplined choice weakens the grip of your lazy, distracted, uncommitted self. Building discipline is not about making massive, dramatic changes overnight. It is about small, daily commitments honored consistently. Start with one non-negotiable action each day. Something aligned with your goals. Read for 10 minutes. Train for 30. Write 1 page. Reflect in silence. These actions may seem small, but they compound relentlessly over time. Momentum is built through consistency, not intensity. Weakness hates structure because structure demands accountability. Create routines that support your growth and remove decision fatigue. Whether it is a morning ritual, a scheduled workout, or protected focus time, structure keeps you aligned when willpower fades. It eliminates excuses by making progress automatic. There will be days when you feel like quitting. On those days, remember why you started. The weak version of you will beg for comfort, shortcuts, and relief. Discipline does not listen to feelings. It listens to results. Every disciplined action moves you closer to your goals, and every step forward makes the weak version of you weaker. Discipline is not just about what you do. It is about who you become. It builds confidence because you trust yourself. It builds self-respect because you keep your promises. And it builds success because it turns effort into outcomes. Discipline is the difference between dreaming about success and living it. The weak version of you fantasizes. The disciplined version executes. Build discipline, and you will leave that weaker version behind faster than you thought possible. Now understand this. Time is the one resource you can never recover. The weak version of you wastes it on distractions, procrastination, and meaningless activity. The strong version of you values every second because it understands this truth. Time is the currency of success. How you spend it determines who you become. If you want to eliminate the weak version of yourself, you must take full control of your time. Start by identifying and removing the activities that drain time without adding value. Endless social media scrolling, mindless binge watching, unproductive conversations. These are traps. They keep you busy while preventing progress. Weakness thrives in these spaces because they provide escape without growth. You must make a conscious decision to cut them out. Your time is too valuable to waste on anything that does not move you closer to your goals. Learn to say no. The weak version of you says yes to everything because it fears disappointing others. But every time you say yes to something that does not serve your purpose, you are saying no to your future. Saying no is not selfish, it is strategic. It is how you protect your energy, focus, and momentum. Plan your days with intention. The strong version of you operates with purpose, not by accident. Wake up with a plan. Set clear priorities. Execute them without negotiation. If you do not control your day will control you. The weak version of you loves chaos because chaos provides excuses. Structure destroys that chaos. Focus on what is important, not merely what is urgent. Weakness gets trapped in constant reaction, putting out fires, responding to noise, and mistaking busyness for productivity. Strength prioritizes long-term goals over short-term distractions. It invests time in building something meaningful rather than chasing instant gratification. You must think bigger than today. The strong version of you is built through disciplined habits, controlled time, and intentional environments. When you master these, the weak version of you has no space left to exist. Every minute you spend is an investment in your future. Time is never neutral. You are either using it to move forward or allowing it to slip away. Ask yourself one simple question before you commit to anything. Is this worth my time? If the answer is no, let it go without hesitation. The weak version of you tries to hold on to everything. It wants comfort, distraction, and noise. The strong version of you understands that success demands focus and clarity. Progress requires elimination. When you take control of your time, you take control of your life. And the moment that happens, the weak version of you begins to lose its grip because it cannot survive in an environment driven by purpose and discipline. Time is your most valuable asset. Spend it intentionally, protect it aggressively, leave no space for weakness to linger. Consistency is what separates dreamers from doers. The weak version of you operates in bursts, starting strong, fueled by emotion, then fading the moment things become difficult or boring. The strong version of you understands that success is not built on occasional effort. It is built by showing up every single day, regardless of mood, energy, or circumstances. Consistency destroys weakness because it creates habits that last. You do not need to change everything at once. Start small, but commit fully. Choose one area of your life you want to improve and show up for it daily. Train your body, strengthen your mind, improve your skills. Small, consistent actions compound into extraordinary results over time. The weak version of you craves instant gratification. It wants outcomes without effort and rewards without patience. The strong version of you knows the truth. Real success takes time. Consistency is a bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. It is not glamorous, it is not exciting, but it works. Consistency is not about motivation, it is about discipline. Motivation comes and goes, discipline stays. The weak version of you waits until it feels inspired. The strong version of you acts regardless of how it feels. Success has never cared about feelings. It only responds to action. When you remain consistent, you build trust with yourself. You prove that you can be relied on. That self-trust becomes confidence, and confidence becomes momentum. The weak version of you doubts itself because it knows it cannot be trusted. Eliminate that doubt by honoring your commitments, especially when it is uncomfortable. Consistency does not mean perfection. You will have setbacks, you will make mistakes, you will face resistance. The difference is this: the strong version of you gets back up and continues. The weak version of you quits at the first sign of difficulty. Perseverance is what gives consistency its power. Over time, consistency compounds. What starts as small daily actions evolves into massive, undeniable progress. The weak version of you cannot compete with that because it thinks short term. Strength is built by committing to the long game. Consistency always wins. The weak version of you waits for validation, approval, or the right moment to act. It looks outward for permission, hoping someone else will confirm that it is ready. The strong version of you understands that permission is not granted, it is taken. If you want to eliminate the weak version of yourself, stop waiting for someone else to tell you it is your time. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you want. The weak version of you believes in luck and fairy tales. The strong version of you knows that success is built through ownership, effort, and courage. You do not need approval to chase your goals. You need action. Waiting for the perfect moment is a trap. The weak version of you convinces itself that tomorrow will be easier, that conditions will improve, or that confidence will magically appear later. There is no perfect time. The strong version of you acts now, imperfectly, uncertainly, but decisively. Stop seeking permission from people who do not share your vision. The weak version of you depends on validation. The strong version of you stays focused on the mission. Opinions do not define your worth, and doubt from others is not a reason to stop. Take full ownership of your life. Weakness blames circumstances, people, and luck. Strength takes responsibility and creates opportunity. Permission comes from within, not from external conditions. The weak version of you procrastinates by waiting for the green light. But the truth is simple. The light has always been green. You are already in control. Take the wheel, press the pedal, and move toward your goals without hesitation. When you stop waiting for permission, you free yourself from limitation. The weak version of you loses its leverage because it can no longer hide behind excuses or delay action. Permission is not granted. It is taken. And once you take it, you move forward without hesitation and without looking back. The weak version of you thrives on routine and predictability. It loves comfort because comfort removes pressure, eliminates risk, and avoids failure. But comfort is the enemy of growth. The strong version of you understands that progress is forged outside the comfort zone, where effort is required and uncertainty exists. If you want to eliminate the weak version of yourself, you must challenge yourself daily. You do not need to start with massive, overwhelming goals. Start small, but start. Do one thing every day that makes you uncomfortable. Speak up when you normally stay silent. Take the cold shower. Try something new. Initiate the difficult conversation. These daily challenges retrain your mind to face discomfort head-on instead of running from it. The weak version of you fears failure. The strong version of you embraces it. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process. Every challenge carries the possibility of stumbling, but every stumble carries a lesson. Weakness avoids challenges to avoid failure. Strength pursues challenges because it understands that failure is feedback and fuel. When you push your limits daily, you begin to uncover what you are truly capable of. The weak version of you underestimates your potential. The strong version reveals it through action. Every challenge you overcome reinforces a powerful truth. You are stronger than you thought. That is how confidence is built, not by avoiding difficulty, but by conquering it. Do not wait for life to challenge you. Create your own challenges. Set goals that stretch you. Set goals that scare you, just enough to force growth. The weak version of you will try to talk you out of it. It will whisper that it is too hard, that you are not ready, that you should wait. Ignore that voice and move forward anyway. Consistency in challenging yourself builds resilience. The more you face discomfort, the less power it has over you. Over time, challenges stop feeling threatening and start feeling necessary. Eventually, you begin to seek them out because you understand that they are the pathway to progress. The weak version of you cannot survive in a mindset that thrives on pushing boundaries. Challenging yourself is not about proving anything to anyone else. It is about proving it to yourself. Weakness is satisfied with mediocrity. Strength demands excellence. Make challenge a daily habit and watch how quickly the weak version of you fades. Now understand this. Comparison is the thief of joy and the fuel of weakness. When you compare your life to others, you create unnecessary pressure, self-doubt, and distraction. The weak version of you thrives in comparison because it uses it as justification to quit, to delay, or to feel inadequate. If you want to eliminate that version of yourself, you must stop measuring your worth against someone else's achievements. Your journey is yours alone. No one else has walked your path, faced your struggles, or carried your responsibilities. When you compare yourself to others, you ignore the reality that their story is different from yours. The weak version of you wants to fit into someone else's mold. The strong version of you embraces individuality and builds its own path. Social media is one of the greatest comparison traps of this generation. Weakness scrolls endlessly, comparing behind-the-scenes struggles to curated highlight reels. Strength understands that what you see online is an illusion, a carefully edited snapshot, not the full truth. Stop letting illusions define your self-worth. Focus on progress, not position. The weak version of you gets discouraged when it sees someone ahead. The strong version of you understands that the only real competition is who you were yesterday. Measure growth against your past self, not against someone else's timeline. Celebrate small victories. Use them as stepping stones toward larger goals. Progress compounds when it is acknowledged. And remember, everyone's timing is different. Weakness grows impatient, rushing the process because someone else appears further ahead. Strength trusts the process and commits to steady improvement. Stay in your lane. Build your life deliberately, and the weak version of you will have no place left to exist. The strong version of you understands this truth. Success is not a race, it is a journey. There is no universal timeline, no fixed pace you must match. Trust your timing. Stay committed to your path. Use other people's success as inspiration, not as a source of envy. The weak version of you resents others for their achievements. It compares, complains, and convinces itself that life is unfair. The strong version of you looks for lessons. It studies what others did, learns from their discipline, their failures, and their decisions, and then applies those insights to its own journey. When you stop comparing, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure and self-doubt. The weak version of you loses its leverage because it can no longer use comparison as an excuse to hold you back. Focus on your path. Let your consistency and growth speak for you. Fear is the gatekeeper to your potential. The weak version of you avoids fear at all costs, choosing safety over progress. The strong version of you understands that fear is not something to run from. It is something to confront. If you want to eliminate the weak version of yourself, you must face your fears directly. Fear only has power when you give it permission. The weak version of you hands fear control, allowing it to dictate choices and limit action. But fear is nothing more than a mental barrier. When you confront it, you realize it is not as powerful as it appears. It thrives in avoidance and collapses under action. Start by identifying what you are afraid of. Is it failure? Rejection? The unknown? Write it down. Name it. Acknowledge it. Weakness hides from fear and pretends it does not exist. Strength drags it into the light, where it can no longer control you. Take small steps toward your fear every day. If you fear public speaking, speak to a small group. If you fear failure, take on a project where success is not guaranteed. Each step forward weakens fear's grip and strengthens your confidence. The weak version of you sees fear as a stop sign. The strong version of you sees it as a green light, a signal that growth is close. Fear means you are standing at the edge of something meaningful, something that can change you. Embrace that feeling and let it guide you forward. Surround yourself with people who face their fears. Courage is contagious. When you see others confront discomfort and push forward, it reinforces the truth that fear is universal, but surrender is optional. The weak version of you believes it is alone in fear. The strong version of you knows that everyone feels it. What matters is the response. Facing fear does not mean the fear disappears. It means you act anyway. The weak version of you waits for fear to fade. The strong version of you moves forward despite it. That mindset destroys fear, and the weak version of you along with it. Being unstoppable is not about never failing. It is about refusing to quit. The weak version of you gives up at the first sign of resistance. The strong version keeps going regardless of setbacks. If you want to eliminate that weak version, you must commit to becoming unstoppable in how you think, act, and respond. Build a mindset that refuses to settle. The weak version of you accepts good enough. The strong version asks, what's next? That hunger for more growth, more discipline, more impact is what keeps you moving when things get hard. Remove excuses from your vocabulary. Weakness always has a reason why something cannot be done. Strength finds solutions instead of problems. When you stop making excuses, you take full ownership of your life and your outcomes. Treat setbacks as stepping stones. The weak version of you sees obstacles as reasons to stop. The strong version sees them as opportunities to adapt, learn, and grow. Every challenge you overcome increases your resilience and sharpens your edge. Surround yourself with unstoppable energy. Weakness gravitates toward mediocrity. Strength seeks inspiration. Be around people who push limits, demand excellence, and refuse to settle. Their drive will fuel yours, forcing you to dig deeper and aim higher. Stay focused on your vision. Distractions will come. Noise will surround you. The weak version of you gets sidetracked and loses sight of the goal. The strong version locks in, unmoved, disciplined, and committed. Being unstoppable is a choice. It is a daily decision to show up, give full effort, and never back down. The weak version of you cannot survive against that level of determination. The weak version of you is not your destiny. It is just a chapter, and you have the power to close it today. Stand tall, speak boldly, act decisively. Eliminate that weak